Hello and welcomes everyone, and Wolf here, starting a new Let's Play. As you can no doubt tell, once again from the title of this video, the title of the series, or from the background image I am using, this once again is another series of Star Wars The Old Republic. Developed of course by BioWare and published by EA, this is a game that was released at the back end of 2011. It is an MMO set in the Star Wars universe, and if you're familiar with my channel, then you probably know how the next half an hour is going to go. But for those of you who aren't familiar, and this may be your first series, this is of course the introduction video. There's not going to be actually any gameplay, though we are going to get into character creation, and through the opening cinematic to kind of set the scene, set where our character is in the place of the Star Wars universe, and this video is really to explain what you may expect going forward as this series progresses. For those of you who are familiar with this kind of introduction and lore video, feel free to skip ahead to the action that we'll probably be getting in obviously part 2 and onwards. But if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome. Feel free to pause the video, make yourself a drink, get yourself comfortable, and then come back. Okay, we're all back. Good. Right, so let's throw ourselves straight into it. Of course, as I've said, this is an MMORG, a online game, which is obviously an action role-playing title. And I imagine most, if not everyone, knows the Star Wars universe in some capacity. This game is set approximately 3,500 years after the... 3,500 years before... that was a good start. 3,500 years before the Star Wars movies that we're mostly familiar with. Set quite a bit of time in the past. And in addition, BioWare released 2 previous titles before this MMORG, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. And this game is actually set 200 years, approximately 200 years, after the events of those 2 games as well. It is a time of great galactic strife. There is an uneasy truce between the 2 major galactic factions. You have the Galactic Republic, which is still around. It's been around for about 20,000 years at the point of this game. Or that's when it was founded at least. And then you have the resurgent Sith Empire. They have come out from, obviously, the far reaches of the galaxy. And they had the Great Galactic War. This war went on, I think, for many years. I think it might have been even 10 years this war went on for. And at this point in time, it ended inconclusively. There was a peace treaty signed, even though the peace treaty was rather heavily in favour of the Sith Empire. Basically, the planets, the sectors of the galaxy they claimed they were allowed to keep. Otherwise, the war would have continued going, and, well, the result could have ended one way or the other. Resources were low on both sides at that time. And now we find ourselves a few years after or during the Treaty of Korriban, this ceasefire. And we as a Sith warrior are going to discover the role we play in this uneasy time. We of course are revisiting the Sith Warrior. This will be the 3rd time I have created a series on YouTube regarding the Sith Warrior, though really I ignored the first with Asera, mainly because her series was focused purely on the class storyline, the main storyline that the Sith Warrior actually follows. There is a lot more you can do in this game. There are a variety of world missions, where you can assist Imperial relations and Imperial occupation of the certain worlds you visit. There are a multitude of side missions, bonus missions. There are heroic missions you can even do, which are missions which, all in all, just give you extra lore about the situation you find yourself in on any particular planet you're visiting. In addition, while you're not visiting worlds, there are various dungeons in this game known as flashpoints, which you can run with other players and learn more about the universe that you're in. And so here we are once again playing the Sith Warrior. I will be playing this in a different way than I'm familiar with. Obviously there's the main storyline which tends to go one way, but how you get there, the choices you make, may influence, obviously, or change your outlook on the Empire in total, as well as how you deal with certain situations, shall we say. Either way, this is going to be what I consider a long Let's Play compared to what I would say a SWTOR series, where I am going to be looking at doing a vast majority of the side missions as well as the world missions we find ourselves on. In addition, we'll probably look at a good few heroic missions, and we'll probably be running through a few flashpoints, a few dungeons as well. We will be making use of what I would call adaptive armor. This is armor that can level up with our character, so we're always going to have very high stats. But I will be using armor sets depending on what we find, and maybe change up our appearance depending on the situations, what planets we find ourselves in. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention at this point in time. What we should probably do is get ourselves into character creation, and I will discuss more about the Sith Warrior's place in the Star Wars galaxy we find ourselves in, and how I may consider playing this particular character, giving us a bit of a backstory to this Sith Warrior compared to the other two Sith Warriors I've played in the past, Asera and Curse. Either way, I will I'll get myself into the game, and we'll talk further once we're ready to create our character. So I will see you in just a moment. And welcomes back, everyone. So, we'll get ourselves into character creation. And yeah, we'll have a talk about our Sith Warrior, what to kind of expect for this playthrough compared to, say, as Curse. And we'll get ourselves into the opening cinematic before we visit the prologue world of Korriban. So, before we get started, we are going to be playing on the EU server Darth Malgus. This is where most of my characters happen to be. I used to play years ago on a US server. I don't even know if I have many characters on that server still. I could have a look. Yeah, the start. Well, it wasn't the Starforge server at the time. In fact, forgive me just for indulging in my nostalgia, but how bad did I name these characters? Okay, so I was playing StarCraft at the time. We had a lot of Mako wannabes, that sounds about right. I think I was playing Baldur's Gate at some point as well. Hey, protagonist. Hey, my old protagonist. Bloody hell. Sorry, indulging in some nostalgia. Anyhow, it's back to Darth Malgus. Right, to create a new character. We still have these old level boosters which we've had since the Knights of the Fallen Empire expansion, but once again we'll be starting at level 1 at the very beginning. We get to choose our allegiance. So of course we have the Galactic Republic, as we mentioned, founded 20,000 years ago by explorers and diplomats. The Galactic Republic is a vast democracy led by the Supreme Chancellor. The Republic is a chaotic amalgam of many worlds, corporations, and species, which do often clash with one another. Ah, yes, the Republic. As I've mentioned a few times, I love the idea of democracy, but unless there's some galactic crisis, a lot of those worlds, corporations, species, well, they look out for numero uno. They look out for themselves and, well, you know, some corporations, if they see profit in another direction, well, you know, maybe their loyalties could be swayed to another major faction. Either way, we have, of course, the Sith Empire, a rigid militaristic society where aliens are subjugated and the Sith Lords are supreme. The Empire is ruled by the mysterious, all-powerful Sith Emperor. To Imperial citizens, power is everything, and only the strongest ascend to glory. There is a very strict hierarchy within the Empire. Simple fact is, the first question people will ask you is, do you have force powers? If the answer is no, then you are already way down on the list of important people to know in the hierarchy. If you are force sensitive and an alien, which means you're not pure-blooded Sith or human, then you're tolerated, and if you've been around for a while, you're probably well connected. You're probably still going to be stabbed in the back by those behind you in the hierarchy as a stepping stone for their own glory, but you're still better than the normal Imperial citizen. Now, those who don't have force sensitivity can still accrue honors, maybe as a member of the Imperial military, or maybe as a diplomat in some way, trying to sway worlds to the Empire's side. But you have to remember that if some Sith wants something, they're going to get it from you one way or the other. Refusal is not really an option, unless you have very powerful friends. Now, as it mentioned, we have the Sith Emperor. What it doesn't mention is the Sith Emperor isn't really communicative at the moment. He's not communicating with the Empire like he used to. He's been distracted of late. Therefore, the day-to-day leadership of the Empire is led by the Dark Council. I think it's made up of 12? Maybe 12 of the most powerful Sith at that current period of time. Each member of the Dark Council have their own sphere of influence. One sphere determines or revolves around the defense of the Empire, while one is planning Imperial expansion. One sphere deals with intelligence gathering, and so on and so forth. For major operations, these spheres of course do overlap, and as we mentioned, Sith themselves have a lot of infighting, a lot of politics is involved, and, well, being a member of the Dark Council is a great honour. And it's an honour where you'll always be looking over your shoulder for someone else who wants to claim your title. Suffice to say, it's a dangerous game, but if you manage to play the game well, you will have quite a reputation. and quite a lot of weight to throw around in the Empire. So, we get to choose our starting and advanced class. As I've always mentioned, back in the day, you used to choose your starting class, whether or not it was a Sith Warrior, Sith Inquisitor, Bounty Hunter, or Imperial Agent. And then once you left your prologue world, whether it be Korriban or Hutter, you would then go to Viaken Space Dock, the Imperial Fleet, after you've completed your initial quest line, and you would learn about the advanced classes and what they involve. And then you would choose your advanced class there. At this point in time, with the Knights of the Fallen Empire expansion, 3 or 4 years ago now, you get to choose your advanced class at level 1. For the Sith Warrior, we have the Sith Marauder and the Sith Juggernaut. Now, these classes, once you've selected your advanced class, that's it. You can't change your mind down the line. If we just have a look at the advanced class tab here, the Juggernaut is a stalwart defender of the Empire. They have a tanking discipline path. They have 2 DPS paths. The major difference, of course, is Juggernauts get to wield heavy armor, and they have 1 less resource to make use of during combat. The Sith Marauder actually wields a 2nd lightsaber, can only wear medium armor, and also has this Fury resource to initiate or action some of their abilities. I have played both advanced classes over my time. I was contemplating playing as a Marauder once again, but I just truly enjoyed a Juggernaut. They're actually going to be playing as a Juggernaut once again. The Juggernaut embodies the teachings of Marka Raganos, charging into enemies with heavy armor and pure rage. So, now we get to choose our race, which species we come from. We are going to actually be playing a pure-blooded Sith, descendants of the alien species that gave the name to the Sith Order. And humans... Oh, Sith Order and humans. Purebloods have a high percentage of force sensitivity and sharp bone ridges, which is how they're identified. We get to choose whether or not we are male or female. We're going to be playing as a male character once again.
Looks like it's time for a bloodbath.
I do like the... I forgot who the voice actor is, in fact. If you'll just forgive me once again, out of the sake of curiosity, who is the voice actor of the Sith Warrior? Mark Baisley. Okay. What else has Mark done? I like looking into previous work or current work they have going on. What else jumps out at me? Done a lot of TV series, okay. Not a lot that I watch. A lot of TV series. I'll admit, I don't recognize a lot of this work, but I do enjoy his work here in Star Wars The Old Republic. Okay, it was in the Bourne Ultimatum. Okay. Fair enough. Let's jump back now. Curiosity satisfied. Now we get to choose our character's appearance. So, give me a moment, because I've already kind of predetermined. Perfect. There you go.
Time to rage.
Oh, of course we have our female Sith Warrior as well. Very simple.
Looks like it's time for a bloodbath.
On one side, perfectly unmarred. On the other,
I will bring the Republic to its knees.
He's had a bit of history. So, before we talk about our particular history, let us talk about the Sith Warrior and the lore behind this class. What may be expected of us, our character as a Sith Warrior. I'm just going to read through this, so forgive me. And I'm going to have to strain my eyes here. Let's just lean a bit forward. There you go. So, clear the throat. Champion of the dark side. An unstoppable force of darkness, the Sith Warrior is entrusted with the task of destroying the Empire's enemies and enforcing Sith domination across the galaxy. The warrior channels the destructive emotions of fear, anger, and hatred that purge weakness from body and mind and become a being of pure, brutal efficiency. Destined to eradicate the incompetent chaos created by the Jedi, the Sith seek to rule the galaxy through power and intimidation. The armies of the Sith Empire are trained to accomplish this task, but they require the leadership of bold Sith warriors, loyal and mighty overlords who will drive them to conquest and victory. These cold-blooded conquerors waste no time with cunning manipulations and carefully crafted plans. Sith warriors crush their opponents and stride towards their goals with dreadful determination, leaving ruin and annihilation in their wake. Emanating awe and terror at every step, they accept nothing but absolute obedience from their followers. In turn, Sith warriors can serve as loyal subjects to their own dark masters, often surprising enemies and allies with their rigorous honor and perfect discipline. Whether they align their ambitions with those of the Dark Council or become renegades in pursuit of their own goals, they are never far from the action. Their fierce hatred of the Jedi keeps Sith warriors at the forefront of any conflict with the Republic. The passion to eradicate the Jedi Order fuels many of their actions, but that does not make them single-minded fools. Ultimately, the destiny of any Sith warrior is his own to choose, and woe to those who would stand in his way. In regards to working with others, natural leaders in any context, Sith warriors inspire both fear and undying loyalty into their followers and allies. Though they rarely exercise patience for incompetence or indecisiveness, warriors have realized the importance of strength in numbers in their war with the Jedi, and have learned to accept and sometimes even encourage their comrades, whether they are like-minded Sith, ruthless bounty hunters, or others who embrace the darkness.
Now you'll see what a Sith is capable of.
Indeed. And our Sith Juggernaut here, to give you a name, is Hask. He is from a relatively large, pure-blooded Sith family. I admit, and I'll be open and honest, I am not fully familiar with the culture of pure-blooded Sith, but from what I understand, they consider family differently than how we would. They are a bit more communal, a bit more clan-like, I suppose, and of course, similar to the Empire, strength is everything. Hask himself, unfortunately, when he was young, was born premature. He was born early, and that left him quite sickly, quite weak in his early formative years, which doesn't help when he has two stronger Sith brothers who always look down on him. In fact, his name itself, given to him by his mother, is actually from the Sith language to indicate anguish. And he was looked upon as a failure even before, obviously, he could prove himself. Now that he's older, and the rough handling he's had from his family, from his siblings especially, who went on to gaining their own names and glory through the Empire, Hask has proven somewhat that he is indeed someone worthy of knowing, in the fact that he is at least force sensitive, and therefore has the potential, has the small potential to actually earn glory and actually do his family honor. Unfortunately, from watching his brothers and how they go about, Hask has not entirely embraced his family's culture, his own lifestyle, and so is trying to form his own thoughts and opinions. He is stuck, in a sense, between two worlds, especially now that he's being told that he has to end his training on the, obviously, Sith world of Korriban at the academy there. And he knows what's expected of him, but he always was wondering if he could have maybe went, or if something, like, what else could have happened if his path had laid out differently before him, and whether or not he'll ever have a chance to answer that question. Either way, we'll just have to see what options become available to us over our time here. But we'll get into the opening cinematic, and I'll see you on the prologue world of Korriban. I'll see you in just a moment.
At last, you've arrived. Good, good. There is much to do, and every moment is critical. I'm Overseer Tremel. For decades, I've administered the trials that prove who is and is not worthy to join the Sith Order. The trials are a chance to weed out the weak. Those who face them either survive and become Sith, or die.
I won't disappoint you.
Good. I risked a lot to make this happen. Yes, you are here and ahead of schedule because of me. I expect you to obey. You face your trials, you serve me, and I will make you the most powerful acolyte here.
Sounds like a plan.
The trials themselves are difficult enough, but they are hardly the greatest threat you face. There's an acolyte here named Vemrin. He's your enemy, and he will try to kill you. We must prepare you.
How is it I already have an enemy?
All you need to know is that you are a threat to him, and he to you. We'll make sure you can stand up to that threat. That practice sword you've arrived with is insufficient. The blade of lesser acolytes. You need a dominating weapon. In the tomb of Ajunta Paul, there's an old armory. A strong Sith warblade awaits you there. The tomb is thick with claw slugs. Deadly savage creatures. Be speedy but careful. They've been the end of many an acolyte.
Just tell me where to go.
Once you acquire the warblade, I suggest you spend some time in the tomb bloodying it. Then come to me in my chambers in the academy.
He didn't quite answer our question then where we need to go, but he did mention the tomb of Ajunta Paul. And so we have arrived. It is rather busy at the moment. We have a period of double experience for the next maybe week and a half now. Let's get ourselves out of the arrival port. Give me a moment. That's fine. Let's have a look at Korriban here. We have the academy. So yes, it seems we were secretly summoned by Overseer Tremel to undergo the trials here at the Sith Academy ahead of schedule. Unfortunately, Hask knows what is going to be expected of him. He has heard stories both from his family and, well, his parents and from his brothers who underwent similar trials of their own, though they were never summoned ahead of schedule, which makes him interested. And while he's not looking forward to what may have to happen, well, if he refuses, well, that would go rather poorly, that's for sure. Either way, thank you all for joining me for this first part of a new series here in Star Wars The Old Republic. I have a few things to do in the background, but when we come back, we'll be on our way through the Tomb of Ajunta Paul, which is just down the ramp here from the port. And once we find this ancient Sith warblade, we'll be on our way to the Academy. And we'll see further what this Overseer has in store for us. Either way, feel free to always comment, especially on this first part of a series. Always appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see what Hask has in store. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever it is you're getting yourselves up to. As I say, hopefully I'll see you for even more going into the future. Until then, though, take care. Bye-bye now.